This is the story of how we, during exam season, learned music production and made a song. And this is how we did it.
I went to Carnatic music classes for 10 years. Ever since I was 5, I'd been performing on stage, mostly devotional songs or familiar Tamil and Hindi pieces. My mom would record every performance and proudly post the videos in our family group. But 10 years is a long time, and somewhere around middle school, my music taste shifted. One day, I asked my mom to record something different, a video of me singing a Billie Eilish song. But this time, when she posted it in the family group, I received different reactions. My relatives at least tried to be nice, but the mockery slipped through eventually. After that, I stopped singing in front of everyone.
So, I've never learned music, but was always passionate about singing. My mom would often circulate videos of me singing to our family and all of our friends. And I was often made to sing in front of guests against my will, and I hated doing that. And to this day, I've not sung in front of my family for almost 8 years or so. It's not that I can't sing, I just choose not to, especially in front of my family.
I don't sing because I don't want to sing.
And I don't sing because I can't. As it's abundantly clear, we are inexperienced in the field of music. We chose this topic because 2.5 of us are interested in music and because I accidentally bought Logic Pro along with my editing app. It's kind of like having the Stradivarius violin while only knowing how to play the piano, you know what I mean? The music industry is one of the most volatile industries of all time, especially when it comes to copyright. A single second of a song on a video or a documentary can get the entire video copyright striked, which is why it is so important to have someone who knows the laws of sampling. Who better to do that than the one and only Aliza and Mamta, who in addition to learning the guitar will also serve as our imaginary manager. And as for who's singing, how did we get here? Flying through the atmosphere. This is why I will be producing and Ananya will be singing. And I'm sorry for that. Oh, and there was also just one more problem. Our team unexpectedly entered a long-distance relationship. 2 of us were cozy at home, while the other 2 were holding down the fort on campus. Our main form of communication was now a group chat filled with desperate, "Is anyone free tomorrow? Can we meet at 9?" texts.
Okay, so the songwriting process, that's where it all starts from. And guess who's responsible for that job? That's right. Yippee! The others actually tried sitting with me and helping me out with the writing process, but to get into the right headspace for songwriting, I had to retreat into my bat cave. So first, I tried writing lyrics based on the music Rishikesh sent me, but I realized it didn't match my style. So even though I first wrote 2 to 3 lines based on the music he sent, I ended up developing my own tune with more lyrics. We have worked on the lyrics and the music simultaneously since then. But while writing those lyrics, I found myself getting stuck in a lot of places. Not just about what to write exactly, but also on what to rhyme my lines with, or finding the right word that fits the right emotion. So I just look up songs that matched the mood of what I was trying to write and took inspiration from it. For example, the first line of the bridge, which goes like, "We'll wait for something more." I got it from the song Wait For It from Hamilton, the musical. I even took inspiration from a TED Talk, which is by Rita Pearson, and the exact line was,
"I have things to do, people to impress, and places to go."
There are many things required to make a song. A microphone, a DAW, and most importantly, a place to record. One of them, the DAW, was covered. The microphone, we'll worry about that later. And the place to record, well, now we are doing a search for a soundproof room to record in. What we have decided is not a soundproof room. We have decided to go to...
I don't know actually.
we have decided... So guys, instead of a soundproof room, we have decided on this.
We are depending on the train to not make sounds.
Yeah, we are depending on the train. We are depending on a lot of things. We have no other place to sing. Or she has no, I'm not saying. How did we?
We tried some sound checks and almost began to work on recording the music, but just then, Lord Helios decided to shine his blessed light on Rishikesh's laptop. Of all the days I prayed for the Chennai summer heat to migrate to Bangalore, why today? The laptop started heating up and we had to get moving again. We ended up wasting one entire hour searching for the perfect location to record. And all because we misunderstood thinking that the music room was closed. And yay, the music room was actually open the entire time.
The music room of Alliance, for the uninitiated, is the suspiciously dungeon-shaped room right down the activity center. Coincidentally, it's also the place we are recording this video. It was a really strange place, and it was also both of our first time going to the music room. But since it had the word music in the name, and it was literally the only place that didn't have someone screeching, we decided that this was the place we will record our song. We turned on the lights, and it was glorious. It smelled like someone recently died in there, but still glorious. It was just an empty room with instruments on the side, but it was quiet and it was actually quite cozy. It was the perfect place for recording. I had also heard from some of my seniors that we could connect the DAW and record music from the instruments in the music room. If this was true, this would be a pretty big deal because we could finally customize our drums and not just use the given presets. What they didn't tell me was the fist-sized hole that Jerry would call home. I truly wonder what motivated a human being to hit a drum so hard that we can quite literally see its interior design. So, as you can see, the drums were off the plate. The given presets will have to do. However, this didn't deter us, and we used the music room to our full advantage and started working on recording the song.
We tried recording in the rip-off version of a music studio. It was such a disaster. We spent 2 hours recording just the first verse and we ended up with a Frankenstein version of it. We did not use a chord progression. I know, we are such musical geniuses.
You know, I always thought that after getting everything ready, recording the song would be the easy part. As usual, I'm wrong. Takes upon takes upon takes upon takes. Right now, after finishing the song, I counted how many takes it took to finish this bridge.
Bold and something new.
I counted 8 separate recordings for this. There were more I had to cut out simply because of how bad they were. Now, I know the old idiom, a bad craftsman blames his tools, can be said about us, and yes, if you gave Jimi Hendrix a toy guitar, he would probably start shredding on it. But I am not Jimi Hendrix. But this is a toy guitar. With every new take, I finally started to grasp how long cleaning this was going to take. I have now developed a special hatred for the letter P, and it's because of plosives. One of the biggest challenges that we had to face while recording. For those who don't know, plosives are the P sound that gets stressed, and you get a sharp pop.
Plosives are persistently a pain with poor positioning.
Now this happens with almost every microphone. So what recording artists do is invest in a pop filter. These things right here, which as the name suggests, removes the plosives. Instead of the pop filter, we had air. So some of Ananya's best takes had to be chopped because of a stray
Plosives.
When I'm singing, there's some subtle things like breath and the sounds were like with P and D, like that kind of sound. It's like really audible in the music.
The best way to avoid this sound was to move away from the mic. However, the mic was so astonishingly bad that if she moved away, her voice would be so light that it could be buried under the instrumental. It is truly to be or not to be. That really was the question. There wasn't any apparent solution for this, and considering it was exam season, we simply rushed by and recorded, praying on our knees that we won't hear a plosive. We did hear them, many of them, but with sheer grit and determination, we made it through and finished recording the vocals.
Yeah, so you might have heard Rishikesh talking about a guitar. The plan was that I gave my guitar for repair as my strings were broken and then learned some of the basic chords in hopes of adding it as a layer to our song. That did not work out. I didn't get enough time to practice, and all my chords started sounding like a dying animal. And we chose a more educational approach to our video, so we decided to scrap the idea of adding a guitar to our song. So, my job is that I'm the manager of the whole record label, I guess. I'm the big guy. These people work for me, and nothing moves in the process without my approval. Okay, I'm not that mean, but I do have a say in what is being done in the creative process. In this scenario, I don't have much to do as a manager other than approving lyrics and some of the beats in the songs. And I try to make sure the process sails smoothly. So what exactly do managers do? They help their clients book gigs, plan album projects, orchestrate their record releases and tours. They create the marketing and merchandising strategies for the artists. Basically, what Scooter Braun should have done instead of backstabbing his clients. Ultimately, a great manager is more than just an administrator. They are the visionary partner who believes in the artist's potential and builds the framework to help them achieve it.
When I first watched a clip of a producer in the studio, I thought that this was going to be the most fun part of the entire process. It was not. It was, if I'm going to be honest, the most grueling and time-consuming thing I have ever done. Since Ananya was done with the vocals, it was time to add the melodies. And now since I don't know any instruments, I first thought of using samples. See, samples is using existing melodies, usually from old songs, to make your song. Since the melodies were already made, I didn't have to make my own. But sampling comes with a few catches. I let our legal expert, Aliza, explain that.
So, picture Rishikesh. He's a producer in his studio, which is really just a fancy name for his room, trying to finish a new track for his EP. He's got the drums locked in, a synth pad floating in the background, but it's missing something, a driving force. He finds the perfect element, a killer isolated bass line from a track released by his friend, Mamta's record label. He samples it directly, a few perfect loops. He transforms his track. He's ecstatic. He finalizes the mix, which is balancing all the levels of the individual elements so that everything sits right, and gets the master or the final polished, volume-optimized file ready for streaming. He names the track Neon Tide and uploads it. Here's the problem, and it's exactly what my course has drilled into me. Rishikesh just became a copyright infringer. He didn't just borrow a sound. He stole two separate pieces of intellectual property. He violated the sound recording copyright of the master, owned by the label, as well as the composition copyright of the underlying bass line, owned by the label's songwriter. He's now operating in a gray area, hoping his traction stays under the radar. However, copyright law has ruled that sampling a sound recording, even in tiny parts, requires permission. It's a get a license or do not sample world. There is no, it's just a few seconds defense. The risk is a ticking time bomb. If Neon Tide gains any traction, it will be Mamta's job as the label manager to notice. Protecting the label's powerful product, which is an asset that forms the basis of licensing and contracts, is her fiduciary duty. She would have to send a cease and desist letter. The track would be pulled from every platform overnight. His momentum would vanish. And if the label sues, he could face statutory damages ranging from $750 to $150,000 per work infringed. His track and potentially his finances would disintegrate. Poof. So, the right path, the professional path I've understood, is to handle this legally from the very beginning. Rishikesh had two clear options. Firstly is full sample clearance. Contact Mamta at the label to negotiate a license for both the composition and sound recording. This means paying an upfront fee and, crucially, giving the label a percentage of the ownership and royalties from Neon Tide. It turns theft into a business partnership. Secondly, and a smarter workaround, interpolation. Don't sample the recording. Instead, recreate the bass line by having a session musician play the exact same notes. This way, he only needs to clear the composition with Mamta's label. He'd still have to give the label's songwriter a credit and his share of the publishing, but it's simpler and sidesteps the strictest legal rules against the sampling of the actual sound recording. Think about Olivia Rodrigo's Good For You. That song has the same explosive energy as Paramore's Misery Business, because her team interpolated it. They recreated the signature vibe with new musicians, which meant they only needed a license for the composition. That smart move is why Paramore songwriters now have a credit on the track. This is how the modern industry works. There are now platforms designed to navigate this complex process. For instance, Splice offers a vast library of royalty-free, pre-cleared samples specifically created for legal use. And for sampling from actual released songs, Tracklip provides a service where its entire songs library is pre-cleared, allowing you to legally license a sample by paying an upfront fee and a revenue share, all without having to hunt down the copyright holders yourself. The fundamental lesson from my courses is this: in today's music business, every sound is property. The principle is, every time the music gets played, somebody gets paid. Sampling without permission isn't just a creative tribute. It's theft. And when the person you need to get permission from is the manager of the label, as well as a friend, getting it right isn't about just legality. It's about professional respect and building a sustainable career without burning every bridge you have.
So yeah, samples were out of the table. The entire process was now entirely on me. The first thing I had to do was clean up the audio. Using the voice isolation filter on Ananya's voice, we cleaned up all the background noise to make a honestly pretty professional sounding clip.
Showing what they never knew.
Alright, now it was time to add pitch correct, which is basically auto-tune. You see this thing here? This is called reaction time. Basically, the lower you keep the reaction time, the harsher the pitch correct. You may be tempted to crank this baby down all the way to 0, but then you have a voice that sounds like this.
Never thought we'd get this far.
We really don't want that, so I kept it at a nice 200 milliseconds. The voice sounds natural, and if you actually compare it with Ananya's real voice, you can barely tell the difference. Now for the reverb. I had to learn about this thing called buses. Yes, they're actually named after the public vehicle for some reason, but what they do is add reverb. This is what takes a voice from sounding like this
Why we're losing minds, winning hearts.
to this.
Why we're losing minds, winning hearts.
You can quite literally hear the difference. Now we cut down the EQ right here, which means lowering certain frequencies and heightening others. And voila, we are done. We have transformed the dry, unprocessed vocals to wet vocals ready for the melody. So after this, it should be a breeze. Ananya did not sing on tempo. This is very bad. Since we literally don't have time to re-record the vocals on tempo, I had to work with this. I truly don't know if they think I'm Dr. Dre or something. Why do they think I can fix this? I needed the help of someone who had experience. And that someone was my friend Daniel. Me and Daniel discussed about how we should chop up the vocals to be on tempo, and the first thing he told me was, please just re-record the vocals, bro. I was stuck. I literally did not know what to do. Every producer I went to just told me to re-record the vocals. The project was officially over. And I really do mean it. But then I realized something. Yes, maybe I could not complete the entire song, not with my experience right now anyway, but I could finish the intro. By some miracle, we had accidentally recorded the intro of the song on tempo, which means that we could save some of it from the dreaded delete button. So after a month of hard work and learning and dedication, everything, we have 20 seconds of good audio. Yeah, that's it. That's all we could do. Ananya could sing well on her own, and I could produce decently on my own. But together, to make a fully fledged project, this is all we could do. But honestly, I'm surprised we even did this much. We started this journey with barely any musical knowledge, and even less time. Throughout this process, we learned musical theory, songwriting, basic production, legal sampling, and I even learned a little bit of piano. And when you think about it like that, it's actually pretty monumental. But the thing we learned the most out of everything is to work with a limited amount of resources. It taught us that it isn't the resources that stop us from achieving our dreams. I think learning that was worth 1 month of hardship.